Well, we're still, of course, deeply concerned about the Caribbean islands, particularly the islands of Tortola and Barbuda and Anguilla and St. Martin and St. Thomas and St. John. And it was first landfall of Irma was on Barbuda on Wednesday, last Wednesday, I think it was all a week ago now, as a Category 5 hurricane with winds of up to 180 miles an hour. The island suffered absolute devastation, said the Prime Minister of Barbuda and Antigua. At least 99% of the buildings are damaged, 30% of the properties completely demolished, and the entire population of Barbuda, which, as we'll hear, is about 1,600 people, were evacuated to Antigua, which is much bigger, nearby, and didn't suffer anything like this damage. I've been speaking to the Honourable Asot Michael, who is the Minister for Tourism, Economic Development, Investment and Energy at the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and he leapt out of a cabinet meeting to take our call, and he's keen to say that while Barbuda took an awful hit, Antigua is very much open to visitors.
Well, first of all, let me make the point that our country consists of two islands, although we are a unitary state, Antigua and Barbuda, but only one was actually impacted by the storm. Antigua, which is the larger of the two, which is also the seat of the government, and where most of the commercial activity is located, is being given the all clear and is open for business. The airport in Antigua is fully operational and direct international flights have resumed from Europe, North America, and the region. Hotels in Antigua suffered little damage, mainly to trees and landscaping. So 98% of the country's hotel and tourist facilities are located in Antigua, not Barbuda. And now they're fully operational and are receiving guests. In fact, the 4 cruise ship berths on Antigua are fully operational and capable of accommodating up to the Quantum class size ships.
Right. Very
now, of course,
good.
Barbuda
Very
was
good
badly
news,
impacted.
sir. Yes, indeed. So tell us a little bit about Barbuda, because we're so concerned about Barbuda.
Of course, we all are. In fact, I visited Barbuda this morning with Prime Minister Gaston Brown and also the chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, and the Secretary General of CARICOM. The entire population of the sister island, which is roughly about 1,700 people, have been temporarily evacuated to Antigua for their safety. But Barbuda, as I just said, has less than 100 hotel rooms, so there's minimal impact to the country's overall tourism plan by the rooms being damaged. That's Barbuda Bell,
But needless to say, we're so concerned about the general population. How are they doing?
They're doing all right. They're in good spirits. They're in shelters here in Antigua. Antiguans have been very gracious to open up their homes for the Barbudans. And we visited them. We had a town hall meeting. The Prime Minister and his entire cabinet had a town hall meeting with them. And they're all in extremely good spirits. We have had relief materials being sent to them, food and water. They're being fed. And of course, they would like to go back to their island, go back to their home. It's normal. But It's not safe right now. We have to get it rebuilt, and they cannot really go back there immediately.
So I understand there's a population of about 1,500 in Barbuda. Is that to say that they're all living in temporary accommodation in Antigua now?
All of them, yes. All 1,600 Barbudans are here in shelters. They're also in private homes, and also we've rented some small hotel inns to accommodate them. They're all on the island. There are no Barbudans left except for the security forces in Barbuda.
It's a great
There's really
call.
been large-scale damage in Barbuda.
Yes.
But following Hurricane Irma, the priority of our government was to provide the option for Barbudans to move to Antigua ahead of the threat of Hurricane Jose. And the evacuation was complete by Saturday last week.
I know that your Prime Minister, Mr. Brown, when he saw Barbuda for himself, said it was barely habitable. What was your impression?
Oh, it's really it's a wreck. It's completely devastated. All the infrastructure, the airport, the fire station, the public utilities, the telecommunications, 90% of the housing stock, all their roofs have gone. You know, it's going to take some years to rebuild Barbuda, but we are a resilient government. We are a can-do government with the assistance of friendly governments such as Canada and Venezuela and the U.S. We will do whatever we can to make sure that we get Barbuda up and running. The damage is estimated, the preliminary damage, about $200 million United States dollars. And we have set a target to raise at least $50 million United States dollars within the next 60 days to start the rebuilding of Barbuda. But let me say here, sir, it poses a great opportunity for us as a government to rebuild Barbuda with the standards and the regulations and the hurricane codes to withstand hurricane gale force winds of up to maybe 180, up to 200 miles per hour. And also to build the houses on piles and to have a green Barbuda. We are determined that we're going to have the entire island powered by green energy, and that's solar and wind, and also to make it a climate-resilient island. So it's an opportunity for us to rebuild a new Barbuda, and with the assistance of friendly governments, donor agencies, and other philanthropists, we are also appealing to the international community to help us. And
well, that's a great big challenge.
Visitors...
Have you had any help, or have you had any offers of help from the British government?
Well, not formally as yet. No, not formally. I'm sure they have their hands filled with Anguilla and also with Tortola, the British Virgin Islands, which was hit pretty bad. They are devastated in Tortola. But our government will be reaching out to our High Commission in London, and Prime Minister Brown will be writing to Prime Minister Theresa May directly to ask for tangible support from the British government. The government of Canada, I can say, have committed to help us in tangible ways. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke to Prime Minister Brown yesterday, and he gave him his undertaking that Canada will stand with Antigua and will help us.
Well, that's tremendous. Coming back to your brief and where we began, you said that most of the hotels on Antigua are open, the airport is open. Surely people can't be actually coming to Antigua for a holiday at the moment. Are people actually arriving with you as tourists this week?
Yes, we have had cancellations because people are fearful that Antigua is damaged, and that's why we must get the point out that Antigua is open up for business. There are over 1,100 hotel rooms now available in Antigua, but we need your support. We need your support, the media, our international partners like the tour operators, travel guides, or the airlines. British Airways and Virgin actually resumed their flights, American Airlines from JFK and also from Canada. But it's important for us to understand that whilst we are mindful of our sister island Barbuda and the neighboring Caribbean islands that are suffering from this unprecedented hurricane, our economy is very reliant on tourism. Over 60% of the gross domestic product comes from tourism. So every single booking is important for us. But anyone
fully understand.
Antigua,
so what you're saying is really international tourists can do their own bit for hurricane aid by going out to Antigua this winter and having a holiday.
Yes, that's what we are asking. Naturally, sir, there will be the perception that it is best to avoid visiting the Caribbean in certain months. However, we need to work with the media and our travel trade partners to ensure that people really understand that the weather during these months, prices in September reflect the possibility of a day or two of rain. Visitors to Antigua over the last few decades have enjoyed lower price holidays, and their time on the island has not really been affected by weather. But of course, something like Hurricane Irma is once in a 10-year event. The hurricane season is often referred to as between June and October, but in reality, we only have 2 or 3 days of storms and perhaps one hurricane every few years. And thank God that Antigua has not been damaged. There are a number of ways the public can help us. Visiting the Caribbean is one of the best ways to help the island. By booking a holiday to one of the unaffected or less affected islands like Antigua, it ensures that these tourism-dependent islands are not indirect victims of Hurricane Irma. So for those who aren't able to visit, also many funds, national government funds have been set up so you can donate. But my message to the traveling visitors is come to Antigua. If you come and make paradise a little vacation, your tax dollars will go a long way in helping to rebuild Barbuda.
Terrific. Minister, thank you very, very much for your time, and lovely to speak to you.
Oh, pleasure. Anytime, sir.
That's Minister the Honourable Asot Michael, who is Minister for Tourism, Economic Development, Investment and Energy in the government of Antigua and Barbuda. And it's 1:30.